in regards to money, this is where we would definitely highlight for you to begin.
And this is where tools like the attraction point audit or the belief tree probing questions will come in handy.
Absolutely.
So if I were to categorize three main levels of wealth that people find themselves in, one being lack of wealth, barely getting by, one being at a comfortable level of wealth, but not much more than that, and a third level being fairly wealthy, a certain level of freedom, but wanting more. What advice would you give for each of these three categories? So let's start with the person who is barely getting by financially. What advice would you give that person?
Even before giving any advice to all three categories, what we wish to say is what you have described in those three categories, perhaps we'll say that you've identified a state of being. From our vantage point, what we see is that you have identified a vibrational frequency. So the first category is vibrating at the frequency of lack, of not having enough, of there's never enough. Maybe perhaps I am not enough. There's a seeking, a constant needing of 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 needing things from the external to fill the internal, to bring something from the outside into the inside. So all work begins at the internal level, as you know, and this cannot be more true when it comes to this first category of frequency that we talk about, because the main theme for this one is where in your reality are you perceiving and where are you putting your focus on lack? And it all connects. It will show through many different areas of your reality, not only for money. And it usually begins at the internal level. So even looking at what it is that you believe that you are lacking as a human, as a person, because you are a whole being. It is simply an illusion that you lack anything. Does that kind of summarize the first category?
It does.
Did you
So for the first category, what essence would you say most people in this category would need to put their embodiment practice towards?
Great question, because if the focus point is on the lack of the absence of whatever it is that they are putting their focus on, simply beginning to take notice, to observe where it is that they are feeling lack, where is it that they are feeling that they are needing something to bring in something so that they feel whole. So we would say the practice becomes the pivoting. The first the first thing is definitely the observation of it, picking up on when it is that you feel lack, picking up on where it is that you see lack, that you are focusing and perceiving lack. And then once you begin bringing consciousness into those moments where you are tapping into the vibration of lack, the work, the practice then becomes the pivoting into it can be as simple as the frequency of there's enough. I have enough to get by. I have enough for this moment. It's really bringing back your consciousness to enoughness. Sure, you can reach for abundance. You can reach for an abundance of anything. If you focus on this giant bowl of apples that you have in front of you, you can focus on how you have an abundance of apple, but it might be a far stretch. It might be better to simply focus on in this moment right here, which is the only moment that exists. I have everything that I need. I have everything that makes me whole because I am whole. So we would say enoughness, wholeness, beginning to create this as an internal experience more than an external experience, but also using the external to play with and to see that there is not ever anything that you need from the external.
So this first category, this barely getting by category, it's about pivoting from lack to having everything you need.
Yes.
So let's talk about the second category now, those people who
And
are
again,